Welcome to GSA's inaugural Construction Awards ceremony. This is an incredibly exciting moment. We have the auditorium that's filling up here, and we also have a live stream underway to capture today's celebration. But today would not be possible without all of you, so thank you. My name is Julia DeRossi, and I serve as the Deputy Assistant Commissioner for the Office of Project Delivery here at GSA. And before we kick things off officially, I would like to take a safety moment. And no, it's not going to be a stretch and bend, but should the need arise, the exits are up here to the front as well as in the back, and there are stairways and ramps in the back that will take you upstairs to the plaza with signage and wayfinding to guide you. The Construction Awards ceremony represents and celebrates outstanding efforts in the construction industry and the impact those efforts have on our agency missions, our federal buildings, and our communities. Today, we will get to see what the pursuit of excellence looks like. We will recognize innovation from the use of technology to building at various scales. And we will also applaud inclusion efforts, a commitment to making new pathways for small businesses, women, and minorities to join the field. I would also like to thank our jury. If you all could please stand, they're up here on the left. As esteemed leaders in the industry, you have taken the time and effort to review countless submissions. And for those of you that don't know, this was an independent jury. There was no thumb on the scale, and we have a diverse set of perspectives represented. We have contractors, the trades, architects, and owners, all as part of the jury, and it would not be possible without your time and effort in conducting these fair reviews. I sincerely thank you. We modeled today's event after the Design Awards program, a long-standing tradition of celebrating federal architecture. And I don't know if you guys know, but architects tend to be better dressed than the rest of us. I have looked it up. It's a fact. It's online. It's true. And while I don't see too many architects, maybe some of the black turtlenecks and statement glasses here in the audience, I do want to thank our design partners. First, for creating beautiful designs. And secondly, for always submitting those drawings complete and on time. I'm just kidding, I'm kidding. I really do love our design partners, I do. And in fact, it was from AIA that I learned that the zip code in which you are born in is the strongest indicator of the quality of life that you will have and the longevity of life that you will have. Even stronger than genetics. That's profound. That's quite powerful. The built environment influences so much in our day-to-day lives, from the goods and services that we receive to your daily commute and even the community that you live in. It even impacts the beginning to end journey in our lives. And that's what we should be talking about to the next generation. What do you do for a living? I impact lives on a zip code by zip code by zip code basis. When I first started to socialize the idea of the construction awards, I never had to repeat myself. From GSA teams, contractors, and architects, the response was a resounding, absolutely yes. How can I help? Today's event is a culmination of those ideas and efforts. From the buildings that we drive past, the ones that we point out to our families with pride, to the agency missions that we support, and the town squares that we create. The federal government is a magnet in generating economic growth in all of our communities. Those zip codes, those lives, those communities. I am looking forward to today's program. I hope that you will be as well. And I applaud each and every one of you in transforming an idea into a tangible reality. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce GSA's administrator, Robin Carnahan.
I think she's going to take over my job one of these days. Nice job. Thank you very much, Julia, for your leadership in all of this, and Corey as well. Thank you so much. Can I just see a quick show of hands of GSA folks who were involved in getting this pulled off? Come on, raise your hands, y'all. Okay, a lot of folks down here, a few in the back. Just thank you. This is a big deal. Really, really big deal. We've already thanked our jury for the countless hours that they put in on this. I got a chance to visit with them a little earlier and asked if they had any idea it was going to take as long as it did when we first came up with this idea. But it really means a lot to have you participate in this and to kick this off in such a meaningful way. Also, to the folks who are here with winning project teams, can I see a show of hands? Winning project teams and families. Okay, all right. Thank you all. Congratulations. You know, it is really fun for us to be able to honor you publicly and to talk about and commend the projects that you've been working on. You have helped create exceptional facilities, but also outstanding value to taxpayers and the people that we serve. I've been lucky to be able to visit a lot of buildings around the country, and I will tell you that, you know, sometimes it's a brand new courthouse that's serving the people, the judges, and social justice in a community. Sometimes it's land ports of entry that make sure our country and our borders are secure, but also, you know, make sure commerce and tourism flows easily. Sometimes I'm visiting reimagined workspaces that is now kind of set up for the way people work in a hybrid environment these days. I get to see the fantastic artwork that we have. I don't know if y'all know, but 0.5% of major building projects goes to public art, so we have incredible artwork all around the country because of that. And in all of these visits, I also tend to be in machine rooms, right? In the basements, looking at the systems, figuring out what we can do to make those operate more efficiently, more sustainably. And it is an incredible opportunity that we have right now to keep doing that. We've announced billions of dollars of projects to do more sustainability in our buildings. And so I could talk about that for a long time, but I'll put a pin in it for today. If you want to hear more about it, just ask. All of our team is really enthusiastic about it. I had a chance to review the list of award winners before coming over here, and there were lots of familiar names. I've been to the Rambo Courthouse in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, to that building in San Francisco, the federal building that is part of the winning teams. I was in San Antonio for the ribbon cutting of the courthouse there, the Mellon Auditorium, the Eisenhower Memorial here in Washington. All of these facilities and others that we have around the country, there's one thing that sort of comes through very clearly, and that is that these federal buildings really are anchors in communities. They're not just buildings, they are anchors. They're economic development drivers in the 2,200 communities where we have buildings. They catalyze growth, and they're important drivers in everything that happens in those towns. And so that's why when every project gets started, whether it's a new construction, whether it's rehabbing a historic building, whether it's even some minor operation, we are tightly talking to communities because we understand that these are not just physical plants. These are things that reflect the nature of those communities, and we want them to have deep meaning and purpose in communities. That's why we think about how to incorporate art. That's why we think about historic preservation in all of our projects. That's why our buildings are so focused on advancing the missions of the agencies that are there to deliver for the public. Whether it's farmers or veterans or small businesses that are going to their government to get something or to have some interaction. And that's why we think about the latest technologies and how we can put those in. So we really can be leading by example as the federal government. Now, I will tell you that the award winners today get that. They get these same goals that we have as the federal government, which was what makes them such great partners. We have 18 award-winning projects. They cross 13 states. The total value is almost $1 billion. And all of them have done wonders to create good jobs in their communities. Many of them have relied on local labor and union labor. And increasingly, many of them have incorporated sustainability, energy efficiency, other things like LEED standards and high-performance buildings. Now, we know the impact that these things have on communities. We're really, really proud of that. But we're equally proud of the fact that about a quarter of the winners this year are small businesses. They're women-owned businesses. They're veteran-owned businesses. They're 8A businesses. So for us, it's not just about doing right by the communities. It's about doing right by the people that live in those communities as well. So I deeply, deeply appreciate your partnership in this. It's not just, as I said, about the buildings. It's about the good-paying jobs, and it's about the impact in these communities. And let me just say, I know Elliott's going to talk a little bit more about this in a minute. One of the things that's so unique, I think, about this year is just the challenging circumstances that everybody was up against in delivering. Y'all did this through a pandemic. No one could have predicted these things. And to be able to deliver these projects on time, on budget, and working in these kind of conditions is just remarkable. And I just want to say bravo and thank you very, very much for that. The good news is the Biden administration and GSA intend to keep going on these kinds of smart investments. And thanks to the bipartisan infrastructure law and the Inflation Reduction Act, we actually have the money to do more of these investments. So we intend to keep doing it. It's about, for us, as I said, creating good-paying jobs. It's about reducing costs, because if we reduce energy costs, we're reducing costs for taxpayers, and we're creating healthier communities for the future. The president always talks about investing in America. I'm sure you've heard about this. He talks about it as going from the middle out and the bottom up. And this is a thing he talks about all the time because he knows it matters for families and communities. And the good news is we have partners like you to continue to get this done. So I just want to close. We're going to have a lot of speakers today by saying that I have a call to action for you all today. And that is, I'd like you to help us do even more. Even more when it comes to being good stewards and good neighbors. To do even more when it comes to sustainability and how we can make these buildings and facilities efficient and models for the rest of the country. doing more when it comes to low-embodied carbon building materials, doing more to integrate new technologies like EV chargers and other things at the design stage, doing more to help transition our entire portfolio to carbon-free electricity. We can do this. We know that this is the future, and this is what's going to make sure America continues to lead globally in this important transition. So, just to say again, I'm super honored to be here with you. To me, none of these conversations are really ultimately about a building. They're about trust. They're about trust in government. They're about trust in democracy. People expect their government to deliver for them. These facilities are an important part of government's ability to do that and connect. And so every time I see one of these buildings and these facilities and are proud of the work that you do, to me it is another way we are building trust with the people we serve. So thank you all very much for being great partners in that, and we look forward to doing it even more. So thanks very much.
Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. Thank you, Administrator Carnahan, Julia, Michelle, Corey, Jennifer, and to the many others who have contributed to the awards, the projects, and today's event. I apologize for not naming everyone, and there are a lot of you, but I hope you know how much your contributions have meant to all of us. And another thank you to our panel of jurors. Without you, we wouldn't have the awards to give out, so thank you again. I have to echo what the administrator said a moment ago about the diversity of projects and buildings we are here to celebrate and recognize today. It is truly a testament to the commitment of everyone in this room and across the country who worked on these or any other GSA projects, and you are all to be commended, especially given the unforeseen challenges we never encountered before. You didn't let that get in your way of delivering excellent projects. Everyone in this room, you adapted, you thrived. I am so proud to be a part of an organization and to work with people who push the envelope and focus on excellence over satisfaction. People who focus on collaboration instead of individuality. And people who focus on sustainability, innovation, and technology. The construction awards we present today reflect the best in our portfolio and the best in our entire industry. But I do want to hone in on the word collaboration. And some people think that's a polarizing word. I could not disagree more with that characterization. And when you see these projects, I'm sure you'll agree. When the administrator mentioned the new courthouses working better for judges, jurors, and those seeking justice, it was collaboration that designed and built that courthouse. When the administrator mentioned the reimagined federal workplaces to meet the needs and expectations of federal employees, it was collaboration that made that a reality. And when the world seemed to shut down almost 4 years ago due to the COVID pandemic, you all kept working, and you kept moving forward, and you were adapting. It was your collaboration that allowed you to continue working together on these projects. Collaboration alone, though, is not what made these teams and projects excel. There was creativity, ingenuity, diversity, and skill of all those who worked tirelessly to make sure that these projects were completed as promised. And for that, we say thank you and recognize you for your work here today. Before I go, I want to commend the creator of these awards. We aren't just recognizing the end result. That would be easy. As you and everyone else in this room knows, a lot goes into a project before and during construction, and that is the excellence we're recognizing today. The entire construction process for capital projects, small projects, and lease projects. We're recognizing these projects for their excellency in craftsmanship, diversity, equity, inclusivity, accessibility, community engagement, ingenuity, engage customers, safety, sustainability, and the use of technology. All of those things in combination is what helps us deliver a great project. Because to produce something as large and complex as a building in 2024, it takes a heck of a lot of teamwork, commitment, and most of all, patience. And everyone involved deserves to be celebrated for their skills and accomplishments. I hope you will enjoy the presentation of these outstanding projects and teams and continue to applaud innovation and commitment to excellence, not in design, but in construction. Thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioner Dooms. As many of you know, GSA plays a role in supporting both current and past presidents. After reaching out to several of our contacts in the industry that have worked on presidential libraries, from the most recently completed Bush Presidential Center and the current Presidential Obama Center underway, I'm pleased to have to inform you that one of them has accepted our offer to join us. Rourke Frankel oversees the planning and design of the Obama Presidential Center, which comprises of 4 buildings spanning 19 acres and will join Chicago's ranks in one of the most prestigious public buildings. And as many of you know, taking a project from an idea to completed success has its fair share of challenges. Rourke is here today to talk about his 8+ year journey in taking the Obama Presidential Center to life. If you could all join me in introducing Rourke Frankel.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the entire Obama Foundation, I want to thank you and share my gratitude at being asked to join you all at these inaugural GSA Construction Awards. As some of you might know, President Obama famously had a plaque on his desk in the Oval Office that said, "Hard things are hard." I mean, nowhere does that apply as much almost as in the field of construction, as all of you know. No matter what the size or type of project, getting something built at all, and especially getting something built successfully, requires an incredible amount of talent, mission, and collaboration across dozens or hundreds of people. I want to thank the GSA for shining a light on this industry, on these projects, in recognizing how important a role construction plays in our communities. Now, Julia mentioned I'd been at this for 8+ years, so it may seem a little odd to have a speaker here coming up here talking to you all for someone who's been working for 8 years and hasn't finished the project yet. But be that as it may, again, I just want to express my appreciation for having an opportunity to tell you a little bit about the Obama Presidential Center in Chicago. So a little bit of background. It was indeed in 2016, during the president's last year in office, that the planning for the Obama Presidential Center began in earnest. And the first decision was to really figure out where to locate the center. Now, in the end, it wasn't really that difficult a decision. The president and Mrs. Obama selected a site on the south side of Chicago, in the same zip code where Mrs. Obama was born, and near the neighborhood where they met and began their lives and their families together. So there's a close emotional connection to the site. But specifically, they also wanted to do just what the administrator and Julia were talking about earlier, which is to try to use a project, especially a big project, as a catalyst for economic redevelopment, for community regeneration, and that applied specifically to this site. It was in a place, oops, I've got another tool here. So we are located in Jackson Park, which is about 7 miles from downtown Chicago, along the lakefront. It's a spectacular site, a site that's rich in cultural and community history. But the neighborhood has suffered through sort of several decades of sort of underinvestment, not just underinvestment in sort of its physical assets like the park, but some underinvestment in the people and the businesses and the educational opportunities available to those people. So it was a decision to really sort of plant the center back in the South Side, in this community, to try to spur, both to inspire and to spur economic development within the community. Now, this site is also incredibly famous in history. It began, I'm sorry. I'm just asking, are you controlling from above or can I use the clicker? It does, either way, I'll use this. I'm sorry. Maybe it's too late. So anyway, the site that we're going to be talking about is encircled in sort of the red, weird shape. If we can go back one. Thank you. The entire park, Jackson Park, like I said, is a very historic park. It was really designed by Frederick Law Olmsted in the late 1800s. Olmsted, you may know, was responsible for designing and laying out the grounds of the U.S. Capitol here in Washington. And then famously, in 1893, it was the site for the Columbian Exposition, if you may be aware of from The Devil in the White City. That was the location of it. The only surviving building from the World's Fair, then, is the building to above and a little bit to the right, which serves now as the city's Museum of Science and Industry. But otherwise, it's an open parkland. So the park itself is 550 acres, as I mentioned. The parcel that was offered to the Obama Foundation is about a little bit more than 19 acres on the western edge of the park, adjacent to a residential community and just a block away from a large Chicago public high school. I'm going to talk mostly about the project, but we're here to celebrate the teams and the people that make projects happen. I'm not going to talk a lot about the selection process, but I did want to acknowledge some of our team members who are helping us execute on the Obama Presidential Center. We're really proud that our lead architects are Todd Williams and Billy Chen from New York. Billy becomes the first woman to be responsible for designing a presidential library. They're aided by a Chicago-based firm, Interactive Design Architects, also a black-owned business in Chicago, the first black-owned architect to work on a presidential center as well. We have a big team here. Michael Van Valkenburg Associates doing our grounds. Ralph Applebaum Associates is helping us design the museum experience. RAA and their team have done a lot of work here in Washington, most famously or most recently perhaps at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the plan. Now, every building begins with a program, and the program is the most important part to figure out, what kind of needs the building is attempting to serve. But we wanted to start with like 5 guiding principles that, program aside, we would always come back to as sort of a constellation of North Stars that we would weigh every decision we made against. So those principles were about to unify Jackson Park, to respect the park, to build sustainably and inclusively, and to be a community partner and be really committed to that. So this is the site as it existed when we began. So this first idea of uniting the park was the most sort of technical challenge that we faced, but the decision itself was fairly easy. The park had changed like public spaces do over the decades, to better serve the needs of the community as it changed. So in the late 60s, one of those changes was the creation of a 6-lane road called Cornell Drive that ran from the north through the south end of the park to join 2 major roadways in Chicago. Well-intended as it was, it created some unintended consequences as well. Specifically, because there's no cross streets through the park, it was sort of an unbroken 6-block stretch of roadway was posted for 30. Frequently, people drove it at 60. There was no sort of way to safely cross it. And so inadvertently, they had created this way of kind of cutting the park in half, long ways. And so we were really dedicated to trying to reunite the park, especially the western edge of the park to the lagoon, which was now nearly inaccessible. The other strategy was that in the creation of the roadway, they had the drainage sort of tilting and draining into the lagoon itself. And so over decades, there had been a lot of sort of ecological deterioration of life at the lagoon, and that combined with sort of the road noise and other after effects of automobile traffic had really had an impact on the park fauna and flora. And so our plan was to start to eliminate this section of Cornell Drive, to restitch the park back together. Of course, it was a very complicated effort that took a lot of study and then a lot of adjacent or associated infrastructure parks to make projects to make sure that we could redirect traffic onto the adjacent networks. So a lot of signalization projects around the neighborhood. We did add lanes at other neighborhood arterials. Above is just a little description of what I was showing. On the left is the condition as it was when we took the site. We're just looking southbound on Cornell. You see the lagoon to the left, sort of cut off from this 6-lane roadway. On the right is sort of what we're trying to recreate. So we've eliminated the roadway. We're connected up and landscaped to the lagoon, and then replacing the roadway with a narrower pedestrian and biking path running the length of the park. The other part of the plan was to respect the park, and I won't lie to you, it was a very controversial decision to locate the center in the park. We had dozens of community meetings, probably at least 50 more smaller stakeholder engagement sessions. We couldn't get everybody onto the same page. That was impossible, but we really did listen and we really did learn, and our plan did evolve out of those discussions. One of the things we were really focused on from the beginning was not to simply build a single building and put it in the park so that the park would be all around the project. So that led us to this idea or this decision to try to create the center with a campus typology where we'd break up the functions of the center into 4 separate buildings. And that way, that would allow the park to flow through and around the center. We also did change the building's topography. So I talked about the 4 buildings. 3 of them are 2 levels high. We pushed those buildings into the ground so they were only all 1 level above grade. And then we took the park, and Chicago is an incredibly flat town, but we took the park from the south and east edge, and we have now reformed it, and we are rolling it up over the roofs of 3 of the buildings, so that the park itself is on top of the buildings and that these other 3 buildings are really nestled and buried into the park, really became one with the park. Another one of our strategies, before I get into talking about our economic development strategy, is that as we also push the buildings down, we belled them out so that over 40% of the occupiable square foot of the complex is underground. We were really focused on trying to minimize our footprint within the park as well. But as has been discussed before, one of our biggest focuses wasn't just on what we were going to build, it is how we were going to build it. And from the beginning, the President, Mrs. Obama, the entire foundation, our focus was always on trying to make sure that the construction of the center would reflect the community in which it was being built by small businesses and by the men and women of the community as best as possible. And I know that, markets are different all over the country. I've only worked in Chicago, but I can say in Chicago, what we are doing at the center is unprecedented. We are spending 50% of our monies in our contracts with minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, businesses owned by LGBTE enterprises, also and veterans and service businesses. And so we've, that 50% goal that was incredibly audacious, I'm just thrilled, we're all thrilled to announce that we're actually doing better than that right now. These are just some of the metrics here. The project itself post-COVID, which I know impacted all of us, rose our budget to about a $600 million construction project. So that's over $300 million that we're spending, both with diverse businesses and local community businesses. Oh, thank you so much. At the same time, there's a lot that goes into a project. It's not all construction, though that's where a lot of the focus is. We also are committed to trying to spend 32.5% of all of our sort of non-construction spend, and this is the exhibit preparation and design, all of the other things that we have to do, and we're exceeding that 32.5% goal currently as well. Next, we wanted to talk about workforce development. It was a key part of what we wanted to try to do and accomplish with the center. In Chicago, it's very common for a public project to have a requirement that 50% of the man hours performed on site are performed by City of Chicago residents. There's really nothing new about that. We have the same goal. But what we've done is tried to target the south and west sides, which are sort of unrepresented in the workforce, and even closer in community impact area around the center, which is denoted by the darker green. Again, there, our ambitions were really sort of off the charts. We have incredible partners that have been with us every step of the way, who are really committed to this mission. And as so far, we are on track and even above track, meeting all of those goals. Up at the upper right chart, you show just a little bit more of the 50% of our man hours are by city residents, but we've been able to get over almost 35% from the south and west side areas, which is really hard to do in Chicago. And spectacularly, we're at 13% from our local impact area. One of the incredible things about working at the Obama Foundation is we don't try to create things that already exist and try to duplicate efforts. The really thing that's really special about the foundation is sort of the platform we have, our ability to convene, and quite frankly, the fact that we're a very well-funded nonprofit. And so what we did is we've taken people who are doing incredible work in the communities in workforce development, we've brought them together and funded a separate initiative called We Can Build It, that we started and have funded for the last 6 years. So that was another really interesting strategy, which was we knew that this process was going to take a long time. And we knew we had a lot of approvals to do, a lot of community sort of buy-in that we had to acquire that would take time. But we started right away on the workforce development piece because we knew it was a matter of not if, but when, and we wanted to be ready, and we needed all the ramp-up time we could have. So we've been working with the Chicago Women in Trades, Hire 360, Revolution Workshop, and St. Paul's Ministries. These are local agencies on the south and west sides of Chicago that have been doing workforce development for years. Also in partnership with our local carpenters union and our electricians union with this We Can Build It exercise. So far, we've had over 8,600 people apply through We Can Build It. Almost 7,500 people self-identify as a minority or being diverse in some way. And if we drop down to the bottom of that, we're thrilled that we've been able to graduate over 400 people through local apprenticeship training programs over the last 6 years. That last number, 29 of them are working on the Obama Presidential Center now. The goal was never, it's a great story and it's really inspiring. The goal was never to train people to just work on the Obama Presidential Center. The goal has been to use the Obama Presidential Center as a means for creating sustainable careers for underrepresented peoples in Chicago. And so we've got now over 400 people working in Chicago are in apprenticeship programs now or have graduated out of them that we think is incredible. I've shown a bunch of numbers here, but and that is, the numbers are important and it's a way to measure the way we are doing our work. But we're also trying to make transformative impact in other ways as well. And so if you can go to the next slide, please. Yeah, so what we've done with our partners and our trade partners on the job, we have had a series of workshops on the weekends where we bring in Chicago high school students from the south and west sides and introduce them to the various trades. The first thing we talked about is we created a big tent on site where we do our stretch and flex, and we also provide sort of a environmentally controlled haven for our workforce, which we try to respect, during the hot and cold summer months where they can take breaks and take their lunches. But before we did that, so we had a program early on where we had all Chicago high school students learn how to build picnic benches for the tent that serves our entire workforce. Next. And then we just ran through a bunch of workshops, really, again, introducing young people, many of whom have no idea what it is like and what kind of careers you can achieve and obtain, through the construction trades. And so we've had a series of workshops of everything from pipe fitters to iron workers, talking about, working on concrete projects. Next. Electricians. And these are just in carpentry. We built these mini bathrooms and taught people how to plumb them. And it's just been a spectacular exercise in development. Now, I wanted to highlight that so I didn't run out of time, but I wanted to go back to the plan and tell you a little bit more about the center if I can. Again, we have 4 buildings. At the far south end of the campus, we have the Programs and Athletics Center, which is essentially a gymnasium. It was really important for the foundation and for the Obamas that this place also be a community center that would also be a place where we could help lift up the programs of wellness and fitness that Mrs. Obama started in the White House. And then at the north end of the campus, we have 3 buildings ringing a big open public plaza. This is our welcome to the community. This is a shared space with the community where we hope to host, all kinds of events from farmers markets to performances to art and career fairs. On the south end of this plaza, this collection of 3 buildings, we did something that we thought was really interesting. And instead, where other presidential libraries, they are the repository of the doings and the documents of those presidencies, we've also created a space on our campus that is a new branch for the Chicago Public Library. In the center of this, at the back of the plaza, is a building we call the Forum, and I put this slide in to try to reinforce the point I made earlier about how we are rolling the landscape over the roofs of the parking garage, which I haven't talked much about, the library at the far right, and then the Forum building there in the center. The Forum building is where we're going to have all of our public programming. That's where our multidimensional classrooms are. That's where our auditorium are. That's where our maker spaces are. We have audio and a media center where especially young students can learn to tell stories in their own voices using different media. And then at the north end is the most iconic building on the campus. It is the museum itself. This is looking at another view of it, but so kind of interestingly, a lot of vertical museum experiences start at the top and sort of wind your way down towards the exit. Ours is a little bit different. We were trying to take people on this journey of ascension through the museum, which would then eventually culminate at the top in a space we're, at least currently calling the Sky Room, where you will actually look out through a text piece that I'm about to talk about, out to the community and to the city, and to use the administrator's term, to become some kind of call to action. You've gone through this experience, which is not solely, if it were successful, is not about the Obamas and what they did or what the administration did or didn't do. It's really about to try to identify how all of us have a role, all of us to see ourselves in their stories, and that all of us have both a responsibility and a privilege that we can make change in our communities, like I know that all of you are doing. And so we come up to the top, and we are looking out through this text screen, which if we go to the next one, which is an excerpt from the president's speech commemorating the 50th anniversary of the Selma March, really strong words. But it's also one of the incredible construction and design challenges we've had on the project. Those letters, each of the letters are 5 feet tall, and they're cast ultra high performing concrete. And if we can go to the next slide, and the next. Yeah, I mean, one of the other things we're trying to do, the most visible sort of example of our workforce development program is the on-site effort. But we've partnered with and require all of our vendors in any capacity to create internships and opportunities for underrepresented persons. This is a casting of the mold of the screen text or one panel of the screen text. It was really incredibly complicated because up there, it has to feel light and it has to be legible, but structurally we have to make sure that it can withstand wind loads and that it's tied back to the building securely. So you can see there's a gantry above that is pouring concrete into the molds. We have to check very carefully all through it. It's a really intense QA/QC process through the screen text production, so that none of the rebar or cable has shifted and gotten too close to the exterior surfaces where we might be more liable to see spalling in the decades ahead. Now, we don't have anything of the screen text on the building yet, but this is an example of it. We're super excited. Also, the 3 buildings at the north are all clad in this stone from New Hampshire. You can see it's a very lively, active stone. We're really excited about it. It's coming from a quarry that, where a lot of the stone from the buildings from West Point are used, but we're taking stone from a strata that's not really used in buildings very often. You can see how active it is, so there's some geological impurities and challenges within it, so it's not as stable as other stones or other granites you'd find. And so we're using it in a much thicker panel to sort of overcome that. But in doing so, we're using a stone that really is very unique, and there just really aren't a lot of buildings that have been built from it, and we think it's going to be very iconic and exciting for people who visit the site. We've just started stone installation about 4 months ago. This is an image on the museum building. In addition to sort of at the top of the stone where the text screen is, we also have other sort of idiosyncratic things. We're wrapping other corners. We have niches. This is just showing you some of the sort of the hand tooling of that stone that we use in certain areas. And then lastly, we sit in this beautiful campus. And we did not want to duplicate things that were already in the park. Instead, we wanted to complement the offerings that were in the park and sort of give the community even more opportunities to enjoy and experience the park. So on the roof of the library building, we have a large community fruit and vegetable garden sort of modeled after Mrs. Obama's kitchen garden at the White House. We have an almost 1.5 acre playground, experiential playground at the south end of the campus. Now, when we rolled up the topography up over the roofs of the garage and the library and forum buildings, we created this hill. So that also gives us an opportunity to create this big, great lawn where we can have performances at the base of the hill. We can sit about 5,000 people on the lawn. And then in the winter, though, luckily for us, construction-wise, this winter we haven't had this experience, but in the future, we're hoping that this would become, that it'll snow and we'll create a sledding hill for the community as well. Other opportunities and pockets along the park that we're trying to do. I'm just a little short on time, but a lot of the landscape is also tied into our sustainability strategy. I was really excited to hear about, I knew about, but I'm glad we talked about the GSA's program for public art. Public art is a huge part of what we're trying to do at the Obama Presidential Center. If we go one slide back, well, it's okay, yeah. Either one. So we have lots of opportunities for public art. You may have seen in one of the elevations of the museum building, a large 80-foot commissioned stained glass window there. This is a water feature designed by Maya Lin, the woman who designed the Vietnam Veterans Memorial here in Washington. And then, in terms of just sustainability and resiliency of the parks, especially since we're so close to the lake, a lot of our landscaping strategy derives from that and supports that. I think I'm not going to be able to talk a lot about the sustainability and the inclusive design aspects to it other than they were part of our guiding principles. They're infused in every decision and every action we took towards the planning of the center. And then lastly, just a few things. Like we said, we're still under construction. We've been at it a little over 2 years. We've got 1.5 years more to go, I hope. And these are just some images we're taking from the construction. This is okay, yeah, thank you. Well, as this winds up, let me just say thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate the opportunity. This is an exciting event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rourke. It's really exciting to see the innovative work that you all are bringing to the city of Chicago. It's going to impact the communities there, the contracting communities. It's really amazing. It speaks to the heart of like what we're doing and what we want to be doing more broadly. Thank you. And it's one of these things too. This is generational change. You know, we saw those 400 people that went through the apprenticeship. How amazing is it that there's 400 lives in a community that needs that kind of investment? So thank you. I'm Corey Anderson. I am the director of the Center for Construction Excellence, and I am excited to be here. So about 2 years ago, our fearless leader, Julia DeRossi, really cast the vision for these awards, and we've been planning ever since. It has been quite a time. We really see these construction awards as the next evolution in our construction excellence program. You know, it's 20+ years old now, and it's time for it, and we're excited about it. That excitement not only exists, though, inside of GSA, I think as Julia spoke to, it's throughout the industry. We're so happy that so many people have come from so far away to celebrate with us. We're really grateful for all the teams that submitted. Obviously, not everyone's a winner, but the teams that did really represent some of the best work that we do here at GSA. Just for perspective, the teams that you're going to see receiving awards represent less than 1% of the total projects that GSA and our partner contractors delivered over the time that we had these submissions. It's quite an accomplishment to be walking across this stage. So, we want to take just a second to show you a quick video that tells a little bit about these awards, why it's important to celebrate projects, and how we got here.
GSA's Construction Excellence Program recognizes the economic engine that construction has, not only on the jobs created, but the communities we impact, the market, the industry, and the people we serve.
The importance of the award itself is that it seems cliche, but it's 100% true. People need to be recognized, whether it's the GSA folks managing the projects, their contractors, their architects, their trade contractors. That means the world to people, sometimes as much as pay. So pretty sure that's a big part of this, and it's also incentivizing others within GSA and without to, hey, I want to win one of those too.
Our projects are really unique. They're able to be delivered on a whole spectrum. We deliver small projects, we deliver capital projects, and there's a couple defining factors in that. The teams that deliver them are definitely unique. The mission that work serves is definitely unique. And then how those forces come together to solve a unique problem in a unique circumstance, I think is really where that kind of special sauce exists. You can have a pretty ho-hum project like a roof replacement that really meets a critical need within the agency or a customer agency, and you can really see excellence in the way that it was planned, the way that it was delivered, and in the way that it minimized impact to the customer. So there's a whole spectrum of possibilities whenever you're looking at excellence within a project and what makes it unique. Some of the things that were most surprising about the winning projects, and maybe it's not so surprising, we have this broad spectrum of projects, and you can see from the Fast C project that was 1,800 acres and multiple buildings, racetracks, shooting ranges, all the way to monuments that were being delivered. There was just this broad spectrum of work, and I think one of the most surprising things is like what cool work that we get to do here at GSA, what amazing missions that we get to support, whether it's Department of State or it's honoring our veterans. It's an amazing place to be able to deliver projects, and I think it's really one of the best things about the construction awards is that we get to sit and see these great pieces of work that have been delivered by GSA and have this amazing spectrum of impact.
The Construction Excellence Program was developed by Linda Phillips in the mid-90s when she was here in central office. And then she went back to Kansas City and was the recovery exec, and then she came back to central office. So to be on a jury with Linda, achieving this thing that she started, that was the best.
Well, I'm pretty excited to jump into the awards part of the ceremony. Before we do, though, I have 3 quick items that I want to highlight. Page 8 of the brochure that you received on the way in, it talks a bit about the different awards that we have and the categories that we're going to be giving awards in. So be sure to check that out. Also, there should be a QR code that you can scan if you don't have the physical copy, or for the folks that are joining us via Zoom, feel free to scan that and get the digital copy of the brochure. Again, page 8. Second, a little logistics item. For the award recipients, please be paying attention for your project's name to be called. When you do, please come up those steps right there, receive your certificates, and take your photographs. We'll also be exiting out that side. And lastly, because we are the Office of Project Delivery, and everything we do has a schedule, and we should be trying to keep it on schedule. Please hold your applause for as the awards are given out until all the teams have received them. That way we can give everyone the time to get their recognition up here. That would be wonderful. Also, photographs are going to be taken by our photographers, and those will become available to the public, so those will be able to be issued later, so don't feel like you have to send someone down from your team to try to snap photos. We also are going to have the banners out in the lobby where you can gather after the award ceremony to be able to have the broader crew in on the photographs. Okay, so with that, let's hold our applause, sit on our hands. But before we sit on our hands, we should probably welcome our MCs for the awards part of the ceremony, Michelle Hotelling and Aaron Dries. These two are absolute rock stars, so you know, part of our steering committee, and much of what you see here today would not have happened without their work. So thank them again.
Thank you, Corey.
Thanks, Corey.
We're so excited to be here today and recognize all of these wonderful teams and projects. The awards are in these nice, shiny binders. Anyway, Aaron Dries? Okay.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes, Michelle. Hoteling? Is that how you say it? Hoteling?
Hoteling.
All right.
Hoteling.
All right. It's Michelle, though, right?
Yes, it's
Okay,
Michelle.
great.
Okay, joking aside, Aaron and I have the enviable honor and opportunity to mispronounce everybody's name today.
Yes. So we asked for a little grace. We will do our best. All right. Thank you, Michelle, for announcing that part of it. Let's get the show started. We're going to start with our first category of alternative delivery lease construction.
So lease construct is an alternative delivery method. It is different than capital project delivery. Oftentimes, the lease construct projects are forgotten or not really thought about, especially when it comes to an award program. But there's a underlying foundation that GSA puts in place that's very prescriptive in how the jobs have to be delivered, even though they're delivered by private sector and then leased by the United States government. The government still demands certain levels of really professional standards. So, for instance, sustainability requirements, meeting the absolute program requirements for each end user and tenant is really paramount. And then whether it's intentional or not, the level of expertise and players that are competing between the lessor, who's the owner, its design partner, and its contracting partner have to come up with a formula very early on in the process to not only win it, but deliver design and construction excellence that will benefit the overall life of the plan lease period for the project. It's a very unique delivery. It's a very niche arena, and was really glad to see Lease Construct projects submitted for the jurors to review in this inaugural Construction Excellence Program.
All right, our Merit Award winner for the Alternative Delivery category for the Lease Construct, we'd like to recognize the James A. Haley Medical Center team. This project was for an outpatient and residential services building for the VA Tampa Care Network in Temple Terrace, Florida, GSA Region 4. Constructed by Cullinan Properties LTD, led by Mark Hendricks from Hoare Construction, Avery Sardin with Leo A. Daly Architects, and GSA Project Manager Greg King, and Lease Contracting Officer Michael Monahan. This facility consolidated mental health services from 3 local VA hospitals which support our veterans. The project included 2-story clinic with an attached 60-patient room dormitory wing. The collaboration and extra efforts of this entire team allowed them to overcome many challenges, such as hurricane storms, not 1, but 2, and unprecedented supply chain delays for major mechanical and electrical equipment, and labor shortages. Even with all that, they still delivered the project on time so that veterans could begin receiving services they need and deserve. Nothing stopped this team. Thank you, James A. Haley Medical Center team, for your commitment to our veterans.
Yeah, I know, it's awkward. Sit on your hand. No.
Okay. What? And as we're doing this, please, if you're coming up to receive an award, take off your name tag, and then that way it can be off when you get pictures taken. Thank you. Okay, go.
Great, thank you. What a great project to kick off. No? Oh, I know. No clapping. What a great way to kick off our awards ceremony. Congratulations. Okay, now let's take a look at our next category, one that is near and dear to my heart, small projects.
Some of the projects that were most remarkable were some of the smaller ones. The larger project comes with more zeros in the price tag and more people and more quantity of problems. But in some ways, when you scale that down to the smaller projects, a lot of times they're harder, which may not be intuitive to people who haven't done this. And in some cases, instead of a huge, multi-billion-dollar international construction management firm running it, it's a mom and pop company that never leaves the county where this project was done, and yet they exhibited the same level of care about the job, about their people. That came through in spades, and so all of the projects were remarkable, but I think it's like an extra star for those ones where it's like, these folks may never build a $200 million courthouse, but look at the job they did on this $1 million elevator renovation. That was remarkable.
Our small projects sometimes I think are like Atlas with the world on their back. They're incredibly resourceful in the way that they approach problems and find solution sets.
The spectrum of projects that we have here in GSA, our small projects and our small projects community, our contractors that deliver those, we really want to use the Construction Awards as a platform to amplify the work that they do. It's really important work. It's the majority of the projects that we as GSA deliver, and we want to shine a spotlight on the great work that the project teams from GSA and the contractor have been performing.
Great. In the small project category, we have 2 projects receiving merit awards today. First, we'd like to recognize the Albert V. Bryan Courthouse Emergency Repairs Project located in GSA Region 3, Alexandria, Virginia. This traditional design build project was constructed by Restoration East, LLC, by Matthew Mitty, and designed by David Whitman with McMullen and Associates. From GSA, we have project manager Lara Aramida and contracting officer Patrick Spellman, with assistance from David Duff. By nature, emergency projects are challenging and complex. Given the high stakes, complex work environment, and the challenging locations, the concrete and structural repairs at the courthouse, this project required the highest level of communication and coordination to be maintained during all phases of the project. There were many different issues and obstacles requiring smart, timely solutions. With the 5-month duration for the whole project, there was no room for mistakes. A significant amount of time was invested by Restoration East to understand the project documents prepared by the designer. The project team worked side by side throughout construction. They paid meticulous attention to planning, and the execution of the details was outstanding. Nothing was left to chance. Congratulations to the project team.
I guess people aren't sitting on their hands. All right. The second project winning a merit award in the small project category is the Lyndon Baines Johnson Department of Education Building Basement Studio Renovation Project located in GSA National Capital Region, Washington, D.C. Construction and managed by Structural Engineering Group, Inc., with Yama Painda at the helm, along with the Marshall Group, Ltd., architect Joy Marshall Ortez, and GSA project manager Yu Yin Zhou, GSA contracting officer Kelly DeShields and Isaac Carto, and GSA contract specialist Michelle Appello. The design, build, construction, delivery was established early by the entire project team, creating a success from the start. The project brought their expertise to the project, enabling the final product to be constructed as envisioned by GSA and the Department of Education. During the design and throughout construction as well, the team involved all stakeholders. Thoroughly engaged end users involved from the inception rather than at each milestone of the design is a critical reason this project was a great success. Full participation of all stakeholders from the onset of the project is touted by the Design Build Institute of America as one of the recommended best practices. The end results of this collaboration shows through the quality and exceptional functionality of the new Department of Education basement studio. Great work. Congratulations to our small project merit winners. Now, we'd like to recognize 3 project honor awards for the small project category. First, in no particular order, the honor award goes to Orion Construction Incorporated for the Anchorage Federal Building Court Security Station Project, GSA Region 10, Anchorage, Alaska. Jeff Whaley led by the traditional design, build, construction, along with Nick Draper as construction manager and GSA project manager Autumn Sircosta and contracting officer Amy Huser. This is a great example of a project team that could. This project included 2 U.S. Marshal Service Court Security Officers security stations located on the first and second floors. A fully occupied building, Orion was tasked with upgrading the existing stations to provide more efficient screening and additional security, which included new equipment, enclosed booth with ballistic materials, and ballistic storefront. This team was facing a lot of roadblocks, which included differing site conditions, replacing a superintendent who contracted COVID mid-project, material lead times, and supply chain issues. Even with all of that, Orion Construction exceeded contractual obligations to ensure this project finished on time and on budget with exceptional workmanship and minimal disruption to the security screening operations. Congrats.
The second project to win an honor award in the small project category is the San Francisco Federal Building Plaza Improvements Project in GSA Region 9, located in San Francisco, California. This design build project was constructed by Ironwood Commercial Builders, Inc., led by Steve Essert with Hargreaves Jones as the lead designer and APSI as the construction manager as agent. The GSA team was led by project manager David Leitz and contracting officer Krista Miller. Ironwood Commercial Builders, Inc. is an economically disadvantaged women-owned small business. The jurors noted how this company is organized and operating on par with the best of the large business contractors in the industry, specifically regarding selection and coordination of key subcontractors and the overall execution of the project. The project overcame many unique community coordination obstacles due to the nature of the plaza revitalization project in a challenging urban context in San Francisco. Additionally, the project experienced critical unforeseen site conditions during design and construction, requiring extensive additional coordination with the city and the community. Long lead times due to COVID supply chain issues caused disruptions, resulting in project resequencing and providing temporary solutions. The jurors noted Ironwood's meticulous attention to detail and a superb project coordination. Congratulations. Oh, don't clap! Whoops.
Yeah, you're not helping.
Thanks.
All right. For the last honor award in the small project category, we go to Pittsfield, Massachusetts, GSA Region 1, to the Silvio Oconte Federal Building VA Clinic. City Enterprise, Inc., led by Randy Lord and AE designer EDM, GSA project manager Michael Black, and Stephanie Klein, contracting officer, moved the VA from an outdated and undersized lease space into a new, modern clinic able to accommodate staff and patients along with state-of-the-art equipment. This project included a modern check-in area, 100% electric energy efficient heat pump system, LED lighting, water-saving plumbing fixtures, a new building-wide fire alarm, and a new sprinkler system for the entire floor. The team was able to utilize the existing fire alarm system while installing the new system to keep occupants safe during construction. Utilizing the traditional design bid build process, the team was able to successfully construct this project and turn the Conte Federal Building from an underperforming, underutilized building into a high-performing, 100% tenant-occupied building, saving taxpayer money. Every goal was met on the project. This is credit to the robust coordination, communication, and partnering efforts of this team. Way to go. Thank you to all of our small project category winners. The upcoming video describes our next category, capital projects. Take it away, Sam.
GSA's Construction Excellence Program is rooted in collaboration. It requires an in-depth understanding of acquisition, market conditions, customer needs, and community impact. It goes beyond just bricks and mortar. How those pieces all fit together and the collaboration that it requires is necessary to achieve success. And that process moves at the pace of trust.
Part of what inspired me, because I had already left the owner's world and joined my organization when the pandemic hit, so I kind of looked from the grandstands. I wasn't delivering projects anymore. Kind of in awe of how these projects, all of them, handled all the impacts of the pandemic, on top of all the other procedural stuff you have to do when you work for GSA. We all understand that. But that just added a whole nother layer of very unpredictable factors in between the people part and supplies and just all the unknowns. I think for a long time, all of us in the world for several months were like, well, what's coming next? No one knew. Handling a multi-million-dollar project in the middle of that, that's what kind of blew me out of the water for all of these. Being on the jury was, I'll just say, better than I expected. And I don't mean that like, oh God, it's drudgery, but the quality of the other folks on that jury, I kind of felt honored. Some very good, very smart, thoughtful folks. And I was dreading the, whatever it was, 5-hour meeting we had scheduled, but I ended up really liking it because of the quality of the people.
The most important factor in delivering a capital project is the mindset and the intentionality a team approaches its work. It's not just about delivering that project with the specific metrics in mind, but it's about how GSA serves the community, how we become an economic engine. It's bigger than us.
Now on to our Capital Project Award winners. The first merit award for capital projects goes to the Foreign Affairs Security Training Center in GSA Region 3, located in Blackstone, Virginia. This unique design build project was constructed by Hensel Phelps, led by Andrew George. The project team included the Department of State, AECOM as the construction manager's agent, and Kieran Timberlake as the architect of record. The GSA team was led by the GSA project manager, Abby Lowe, contracting officer, Kim DeSant, and contracting officer's representative, Joe Horton. The State Department was in need of state-of-the-art training facility to ensure the safety of their staff given the current world conditions and risks. The project, located in a remote location and encompassing 1,800 acres, required a high level of collaboration, coordination, creativity, smart leadership, and utilized a diverse set of trades. Due to the vastness of the site and the number of trades, the project team maximized the use of technology, went paperless, and relied on real-time documents to keep everyone on the same page. The Hensel Phelps team showed perseverance, innovation, and created a leadership culture that set the bar high for all team members, making this an award-winning project.
The next merit award for capital projects goes to the Center for Medicaid and Medicaid Services located in Woodlawn, Missouri, GSA Region 3. This project was constructed by Hensel Phelps, led by Brandon Johnson, along with Don Semple, with Kirk Sexton Partners and owner's representative Hill International. The GSA project team included Adam DeLuca, project manager, Ray Porter, contracting officer, and Evan Shillington, contracting officer's representative. This CMC project consolidated 4 areas in 4 different buildings into one 82,000 square foot facility, consolidating and densifying the workplace. 2 things that really stood out. First, exceptional leadership led by a team of smart, experienced, and talented members who worked well together with like-minded goals, a partnering ethic, and project delivery excellence. Throughout the construction, this team hit the mark on all key elements of the project. Elements of the project management and delivery. Nothing was insurmountable. Second, GSA's Back on Campus initiative, which gave the Center for Medicaid and Medicaid Services an opportunity to make a wholesale change to their workplace, reducing space and increasing efficiencies of employees. Not only are they pleased with their new space for what it does for their business employees, but it's also a model for future projects. Congrats.
Now we land here in Washington, D.C., GSA's National Capital Region, to recognize our next Capital Project Merit Award winner. Congratulations to the Dwight D. Eisenhower Memorial Project Team. This CMC project was built by Clark Construction, led by Jared Oldroyd, and partnered with joint venture lead design team of Frank Gehry and AECom. Gilbane was the construction manager, and GSA team was led by Hallie Futterman as the project manager, Thomas Wong as the assistant project manager, Bonnie Eccles as the contracting officer, and Bill Dowd was the project executive. This memorial honors Dwight D. Eisenhower's legacy as the nation's 34th president and World War II Supreme Allied Commander. Clark Construction brought this modern monument to fruition by combining centuries-old craftsmanship with the latest construction technology. The team came together to figure out how to build things that had never been attempted before on this scale or requiring this level of precision before. With a one-of-a-kind woven metal tapestry supported by 80-foot-tall monumental columns depicting the Omaha Beach landing, this is a standout project. With all of the technical and construction challenges, the jurors noted how Clark Construction focused on collaboration, creativity, bringing together designers, artists, craftsmen and women, and the GSA to deliver this unique, meaningful, and highly successful project. Congratulations.
For the next merit award for capital projects, we went to our northern border, GSA Region 5, Detroit, Michigan. We're pleased to recognize the Kreisman Company for the Theodore Levin U.S. Courthouse Alterations Project led by Joe Luther, along with EYP Architecture and Engineering. The CMC project team, Project GSA team, was led by project manager Seth LaRoque, contracting officer Lisa Gonzalez, and Brad Tiplick, contracting officer's representative. This major infrastructure renovation of a historic courthouse remained fully operational and occupied during construction. The work included a massive stair tower to address fire egress issues, renovating the restrooms to meet Architectural Barriers Act accessibility standard, restoring the historic ceiling of the main concourse, and reconfiguring the basement and loading dock. Nothing in this building went untouched. The one-team approach created an environment that made the project successful, especially when it came to tackling issues like unforeseen hazardous material discoveries, limited budgets, and of course, COVID. Many discovered conditions require aspects of the project to be completely redesigned and often on short notice. The project team acted as partners, setting their individual interests aside to do what was best for the project. What a great example of an award-winning team and successful construction delivery.
And now for the final merit award winner in the capital projects category. Congratulations to the Carroll A. Campbell Jr. U.S. Courthouse in GSA Region 4, located in Greenville, South Carolina. This CMC project was constructed by Brassfield & Gorey, LLC, led by Brian Murray, with Craig Brandt from HBRA Architects as lead designer, and Kevin English with Jacobs as a construction manager as agent. The GSA team included project manager Laura Shaddix and contracting officer Cathal Duffy. The new United States Courthouse is located on a tight 2-acre site in downtown Greenville, which presented one of the project's team's first challenges, along with being completed during COVID. 2 things stood out to the jurors on this project. 1, the prioritization of safety, and 2, the team's collaborative leadership approach. Brassfield & Gorey's proactive management process, including robust change management techniques, ensured the project met the budget and schedule requirements of the contract. The team successfully resolved 264 potential changes with 0 impact on the project schedule. In other words, there was 0 lost time in over 700,000 work hours. That's impressive. Brassfield & Gorey was able to guide the team through some significant design assist efforts while delivering a large project at the lowest cost per square foot price point to meet the project budget. Brassfield & Gorey demonstrated their commitment to the success of the project and delivered. Congratulations to the Capital Project Merit Award winners, and now we're thrilled to announce the capital projects receiving an honor award. First, we'd like to recognize the Charles R. Jonas Federal Building and U.S. Courthouse Modernization and Annex in GSA's Region 4, located in Charlotte, North Carolina. This CMC project was constructed by Brassfield & Gorey, LLC, led by Brian Murray, partnering with Jenkins Pier Architects with Ramsaw. The construction manager as agent was F.S. Hodges, and the GSA team included Sean Kelly as a project manager, Will Peterson as a contracting officer, and Thomas Dragoon as the contracting officer's representative. In 2018, the Charles R. Jonas Courthouse began the transformation of a neoclassical revival-style historic 1915 courthouse into a sustainable, efficient, modernized historic courthouse with a new annex, thus becoming a legacy courthouse for the next 100 years. Bringing the 2 buildings together was no simple task, but the end result is a marriage of the old and the new with their unique design qualities and characteristics. The construction craftsmanship is one of the outstanding features throughout this project. Nothing was an accident, always thoughtfully planned, intentional and deliberate from beginning to end. The key to maintaining this level of quality, a team with total ownership in the project who empowered their construction professionals. The team never stopped looking for efficiencies to improve outcomes. The success of this project was directly linked to the entire project team.
We head to GSA Region 7, San Antonio, Texas for the second Capital Project Award. Welcome to the stage, U.S. Courthouse San Antonio Project Team of Brassfield & Gorey, LLC, Brian Murray, along with Doug Keplin, Principal Architect of Record, the SLAM Collaborative, David Lake, Bridging Design Architect, Lead Designer, Lake Flato, and Alta Architects as Construction Manager as Agent. The GSA team changed over time. The project was completed by GSA Project Manager Kaylee Ford, who stepped in for the late Raul Marino, and GSA Contracting Officer Jason Gerloff, who stepped in for Lisa Bird after she retired. A comprehensive, highly collaborative, fast-track design-build bridging approach achieved the project goals and objectives. The project team was also able to stretch a tight budget and schedule along with managing brownfield site conditions during COVID-19 pandemic. Through furniture acquisition, audiovisual scopes, and finished changes, creating a budget increases, they managed to still complete the project within the original schedule. The team had 0 lost time accidents and produced cohesive design that functions efficiently and effectively for the judiciary. The project demonstrates what great teamwork looks like. Brassfield & Gorey set the stage and led the team to an award-winning project for San Antonio, the GSA, the U.S. courts, and the taxpayers. Congrats.
Congratulations to all of our honor award winners in the capital projects categories. Now we're going to move on to our special recognition categories. These projects were selected based on their unique and special qualities.
The winners were people who solved the problem in front of them with a lot of ingenuity. And none of these problems were easy. I mean, they might look easy. Replacing air handling units on a courthouse might look easy, but if you only have 5 months to do it, and you can't use portable equipment, and you have supply chain difficulties, and COVID, and your superintendent has to be replaced, that's hard. That's really hard to do. Their commitment went beyond what the contract would have required. It went beyond what the contract intent would have been. It showed a corporate commitment and ethos around, if we're in this town, we're going to hire small businesses. We are going to mentor small businesses. We are going to become involved in the local ACE mentoring program. We are going to serve in the soup kitchens. We are going to volunteer for Habitat for Humanity. They definitely embrace the idea that you exist in the world the way you want to see the world.
The contractors demonstrated ingenuity by taking these drones that they're using to create maps, and they have a restriction on their site, and they're not allowed to bring people into their site, so they thought about how can they use these drones to walk people through the project, and that is a prime example of ingenuity, using some tools that you have that may not be for that purpose to accomplish another task, and so that was really cool to see that being done. For the GSA to be able to manage all these projects throughout the country, to rely on and leverage the past experience they have, and to be able to employ the best private sector companies to carry these projects out is a really cool partnership that people don't see. I think a lot of people don't see, even in the design world, and so that was something that I learned and have more of an appreciation for now after this experience as being a juror that I didn't have before.
It's important to have an engaged customer, and that means that we, GSA, the project team, has to come to the table ready to engage that customer. So for every delivery method, that's a little bit different. Being able to say to the customer, here's what we're working on in this working session, these are the decisions we need today. Help us help you make that decision. I would say all of the successful projects did that well.
That video is a great way to start the special categories. Let's begin with craftsmanship. The first merit winner for the craftsmanship goes to the Charles R. Jonas Federal Building and U.S. Courthouse Modernization and Annex. Welcome to the stage again, Brassfield and Gorian team. This team managed a project that brought two entities together, the historic with the new. There are many examples of commitment to quality and craftsmanship throughout the courthouse. During construction, the existing historic plaster in the Potter courtroom required a highly skilled hand to restore the intricate detailing of the plaster ceiling. The specialty contractor who was brought on board who not only had skills but took immense pride in bringing it back to its original condition with all the original details. Then you look down the atrium corridor that connects the historic courthouse and the annex. It's a seamless integration. The execution and detailing of this corridor is another defining feature of the courthouse, along with material selection and the understated detailing of the new annex.
The second project receiving a merit award for craftsmanship is the Conrad B. Duberstein U.S. Courthouse Bankruptcy and Probation Consolidation Project located in GSA Region 2, Brooklyn, New York. This design bid build project was constructed by DCM Architecture and Engineering, LLC, led by Aaron Eden and Anton Levchenko, with Rachel Padowitz from Datner Architects as the lead designer and CBRE as a construction manager's agent. The GSA team was led by project manager Robert Olohan and contracting officer Douglas Tombrello and contract specialist Joseph Spado. That was tough, you guys. Working in a historic building presents many challenges and requires a high level of team engagement in order to successfully replace and/or match the the original historic fabric. DCM showcased extraordinary craftsmanship in installing and fabricating new architectural woodwork wall paneling with intricate molding design. They went to extreme lengths to reuse marble and architectural woodwork, tracing the marble to the building's original supplier. They seamlessly married the existing historical woodwork by flawlessly matching the tone between the new wood and the aged original timber. One of the successes of this project is a result of the truly collaborative environment between architects, builders, and craftsmen and women that created an historically accurate outcome in this complex renovation. Congratulations to the team.
Now for the Honor Award for Craftsmanship. And as a native Kansan, I made a point to go see this while I was here. Pleased to welcome and recognize the Dwight D. Eisenhower Memorial Project for the Honor Award for Craftsmanship. Again, welcome Clark Construction and team to this stage. Memorials, by definition, expect to adhere to elevated levels of craftsmanship, as befitting as the valorous and commemorative nature of memorials themselves, as well as the implied permanence of the structure. This project really stood out. Clark brought this modern monument to fruition by combining century-old craftsmanship with the latest construction technology. 3D modeling and laser scanning technologies enabled the team to achieve exacting design standards on one-of-a-kind elements of work. This technology not only allowed the precision installation of column embeds to support the project's woven metal tapestry, but it also enabled the project team to perfectly position each of the project's specimen trees prior to planting. Additionally, the Clark team engineered 2 custom soils designed to capture rainwater and provide nutrients to the site's flora. Congrats. Next is our engaged customer category. Our first merit awardee, no stranger to the stage, welcome Sylvia Oconte, Federal Building, VA Clinic, City Enterprise, and team. The project team engaged the VA to facilitate the moves of equipment and furniture for the clinic to go smoothly and patient care to continue without interruption. During the peak of COVID, when everyone was keeping their distance, this team managed to keep everything moving and all parties collaborating, finishing with an award-winning project that has set a new standard for the VA and will serve them for years in the future. A quote from the VA facilities management team: "By no means a typical drab federal office space. It really stands out in the quality finishes used and the unique details." Congrats.
If it looks good, you can clap. Are they centered? Okay. The second Merit Award winner in the category of Engaged Customer goes to the James A. Byrne U.S. Courthouse Elevator Modernization Project in Philadelphia, GSA Region 3. This design bid build project was constructed by Sun Construction Services, led by Mandy Bucher. The lead designer was Jan Tibera with Henry Adams LLC. The GSA team was led by GSA Project Manager Joseph Horton and GSA Contracting Officer Yvonne Baines. Special thanks to the following key personnel from Sun Construction: Richard Sosdorf, Project Manager, Bruce Hahn, Superintendent, Chris Denler, Mechanical, and Tom Clarkson, Electrical. This project included comprehensive and innovative upgrades to the elevator systems encompassing the essential back-end improvements in a fully operational and secure high-rise courthouse. The team delivered a new, never been done before, state-of-the-art emergency voice, video, and text communication system within the elevators while aligning with current building codes. The innovation and successful integration of these new elevator functions could not have been accomplished without the collaboration and full engagement between the construction team and the customer. The success of this innovative team engagement deserves recognition. All
right, well, I'd say it's 7th inning stretch, but you guys keep clapping, so we got to keep moving, right? Like we're
Yeah.
we're gonna wait.
Yes, can we do
Okay.
stretch and bend? No time?
No,
Okay.
no. On to the next category: outstanding demonstration of ingenuity contractor. The winner of the Merit Award is the Sylvia H. Rambo, U.S. Courthouse, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, GSA Region 3. Mascaro Construction Company, LP, led by Ed Svitek, AE Lead Designer and Need Architects, Melissa Sarko, Construction Manager as Agent, Hill International, and GSA Project Manager, Gary Zimmerman, Contracting Officer, Kim Descent, and Contracting Officers Representative, Brett Molish. The GSA project team brought on Mascaro Construction under a CMC contract. The Rambo Courthouse is the first GSA facility to deliver an occupant evacuation elevator for a building of this height. The team successfully adapted technology used in high-rise buildings to a facility under 420 feet tall. Because this is not industry standard, the elevator industry does not produce equipment to meet this requirement. A key factor to their approach was a can-do attitude. Knowing what industry and others were telling them it couldn't be done, they took the approach of what can we do? Then, after completing the requirement successfully, they captured their success and shared their approach through educational roadshows and cataloging best practices for GSA's Library of Lessons Learned. The Rambo team's perseverance and sharing of lessons learned is the embodiment of construction excellence. Way to go.
Now we would like to present the Honor Award for Outstanding Demonstration of Ingenuity Contractor. Please welcome back up to the stage Hensel Phelps with the Foreign Affairs Security Training Center project located in Blackstone, Virginia, GSA Region 3. Ingenuity in a project delivery can take on many forms. In the case of this project, the team engaged in a 4-month value engineering effort that was instrumental for the project to 1, meet the budget constraints, and 2, to find innovative improvements to benefit the project. For example, the team was able to substitute conventional building structures with pre-engineered metal buildings and redesign structural aspects to save on cost. While atypical for a hard bid project, this approach was a very successful effort for all stakeholders. The team also made the decision to move the geothermal system for the firing range to a different location, which allowed for easier maintenance and allowed construction to continue without concerns of damaging the system. The client is now able to maintain and correct any issues encountered without interrupting their training and without removing existing concrete slab. This project has many more examples of innovation and ingenuity. Thank you to the entire team for taking the time and to collaborate to find the right solutions for the project. Our next category belongs to the Outstanding Subcontractor. The Merit Award for Outstanding Subcontractor goes to the GSA EPA Andrew W. Mellon Restoration Project, completed by Meridian Group LLC, led by Court Hicks, in partnership with designer Scott Payton with Citadel DCA. The GSA team was led by GSA Project Manager Reiki Agarwal and Contracting Officer Harvell Fuller. Special recognition to Rugo Stone, the Craftsman Group, and Universal Floors for their dedication and meticulous work. The Andrew W. Mellon Auditorium is listed in the National Register of Historic Places as a contributing property to the Pennsylvania Avenue National Historic Site. Not only is it historic, but has a rich history of many historical events that occurred in the auditorium. Events such as signing of the 1949 North Atlantic Treaty, establishing NATO, President Bill Clinton's 1994 signing of the North American Free Trade Agreement, and the 9/11 Commission release of their findings. Important events such as this do not happen in an ordinary auditorium. The Mellon space is a visual masterpiece with stunning pilasters, neoclassical plaster ceiling, marble wainscot, ornamental finishes, and an intricate detailing. The purpose of this project was to repair and restore the aging historic auditorium to its original splendor. Yes, it was showing its age after 80 plus years of wear and tear, but look at these photos now. This level of execution was only possible because of the talent of these wonderful skilled trades, craftsmen and women, and the leadership and dedication of the entire design build team.
Now to the honor award for outstanding subcontractor. Congratulations to the San Francisco Court of Appeals Chambers Renovation GSA Region 9 by GCJ Inc. Ginger Sepulveda, along with GSA Project Manager James Peacock and Contracting Officer Patrick Dunleavy, rounded out the team. The original scope of the project was to repair and restore both the ceiling and the historic wood floors. Fortunately, the team was able to be proactive in taking moisture readings on the wood floor and found they were extremely high, so much so that the floor in its current state could not be refinished or salvaged. The construction team worked together to source reclaimed historic wood in matching species to be purchased and custom milled to perform complete floor replacement. The team was able to remove the floor in its entirety and replicate the historic pattern and finish with the reclaimed wood. The expertise of subcontractor Home Associates provided the team with a resource for historic reclaimed wood, custom milled wood. Without their assistance, the project could have come to a standstill. The task of removing and replacing historic hardwood floor could only have been completed by a true craftsman of Home and Associates. Congratulations.
For our DEIA and community engagement category, we have 2 projects receiving honor awards. First, honor award goes to San Francisco Federal Building Plaza Improvement Project in GSA Region 9. Welcome to the stage again, Ironwood Commercial Builders, Inc. and team. This revitalization was controversial due to the location and visibility of the site. The scope of the project included creating a sustainable, resilient community garden space, while also providing a welcoming federal space that included the necessary security to keep the federal plaza safe for all. Due to the controversial nature of the project, community engagement was a requirement of the design process. However, Ironwood met and exceeded the contract requirements for community involvement, ensuring project success. They engaged in affected community members, federal tenants, building management, and community users of the plaza, not just through the required initial community charrettes, but continued community workshops and presentations throughout the project, a strategy that ensured the success of the revitalization effort. These efforts were an essential fabric of this project.
For the second award in our DEIA, and wow.
We're like,
Sorry, I'm trying to go fast. I apologize. DEIA and community engagement category, the award goes to Brassfield and Goria team for the U.S. Courthouse San Antonio GSA Region 7 in San Antonio, Texas. This project team showed exceptional attention to and deep commitment to the community engagement at every level. They met and exceeded small business contracting goals. They committed to small business mentoring. They committed to creating pathways for women and minorities to enter the construction industry. They committed to the community engagement through ACE mentoring. And they served at local food banks and soup kitchens and volunteered at local chapters of Habitat for Humanity. Brassfield and Goria not only commits to a project, they commit to the local community. They led an extensive collaboration between San Antonio River Authority, the GSA, the City of San Antonio, and Bexar County, which ensured the project played an instrumental part in the redevelopment of the San Pedro Creek as a renewed community resource. Congratulations.
Our last special recognition category is use of technology. Oh, wait a minute, San Antonio, don't go anywhere. Hold it. I'm pleased to present the honor award to the U.S. Courthouse Project San Antonio, located in San Antonio, Texas, GSA Region 7. The project team mastered the use of building information modeling and virtual design and construction to ensure success of the project. But they didn't stop there. Brassfield and Goria integrated technology creatively and effectively. They utilized drones for orthomosaic mapping for surveys and utilities. 130 drones were used to provide these maps, as well as to perform quality checks throughout the construction of the project. The project team was successful in leveraging modern technology, which became an integral part of the construction process and proved crucial to ensure quality and avoid costly rework.
All right, congratulations to all of our special recognition, merit, and honor award recipients. And now, what we have all been waiting for is Album of the Year. Project of the Year. Michelle?
Okay. It is with great pleasure that GSA presents the Project of the Year Award to the Charles R. Jonas Federal Building and U.S. Courthouse Modernization and Annex. We would like to recognize Brassfield & Gorey, LLC, Jenkins Peer Architect with Ramsaw, FS3 Hodges, and the GSA project team. Congratulations to the entire team on this award and for delivering a project that embodies construction excellence on every level. You are to be commended. I would like to share some words about this project directly from the U.S. District Judge, Robert J. Conrad, Jr. We're delighted with this new courthouse. People are proud to be here and to work here. The courtrooms are great. The technology is wonderful. Many of us have spent years in this district trying cases in the old courthouse. Preserving the beauty of the historic Jonas Courthouse and the Potter Courtroom while getting the best of modern technology in the wing has been a win-win result for us.
It's quite an accomplishment to marry these two buildings together for a seamless architectural expression, but also operationally for the courts and GSA. Every element that we were looking for was exceptional in the Charlotte Courthouse project. LEED gold, site silver, under budget, an amazing architectural expression that the craftsmanship and the quality really supported. Great engagement of the owner and the users in the project. So every element was in this project, and it was done very, very well. When you reviewed Charlotte, there was this intangible throughout the submission. Photos of the people engaged in the work. This clearly was a team. That was the intangible. They created a body of experts, professionals who really worked for the best solutions and the best outcomes for the project. And that was the differentiator that made them stand above all other projects. Things that I love about this project is between the new annex and the 1915 historic building, there's this little enclosed courtyard that bring the two together. And it is clearly an extremely well thought out design, exquisite. And for me, this little space is exemplary of what the project stands for.
All right, and there you have it. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I would like to wrap up the ceremony to introduce Jennifer Groman, PBS Assistant Commissioner of the Office of Project Delivery, to close out our ceremony today.
Well, Aaron, Michelle, excellent job. I know that it's tough to keep to a schedule. We all know that in our world. And it's great to be here. It's great to close out this ceremony. I noted one of the last photos that was on the screen was the plaque on the buildings. GSA is well known for this, and I love to go and touch at every building that I visit in GSA. It shows all of the people who've touched the building, worked on it, and the pride of the building and the people who've been there. So with that, I want to close and say, well, I have a lot to say, but anyway, I do want to say thank you all for being here today. And first, let's go with the big round of applause, because I know some of you had to hold back and you were following the rules. So congratulations to the teams. I'm blown away by the expertise and excellence we have seen on the display here today. As the Assistant Commissioner for Project Delivery, I am in awe of all that we have honored and recognized at the first ever GSA Construction Awards. Today we've witnessed innovation, dedication, and the pursuit of excellence in the construction industry. I stand before you with immense gratitude and excitement as we conclude the award ceremony. Whenever a new award is conceived, there are always some people who ask, why is it needed? Federal construction projects have evolved to such a degree with such technical expertise and quality that we felt a collaborative recognition was not only a good idea, it was necessary. Because it isn't just an architect, an engineer, a contractor, it's more, it's a whole collaborative team. As we've seen with these amazing projects, details matter, and these projects serve multiple purposes. Buildings represent both community ideals and values, so the work that goes into them, from the design to the materials to the scope, should reflect the people who build them, the people who work in them, and the communities in which they reside. It is also the pride taken by the various trades. It's pride taken by the agencies and the community. And it's pride taken by all of us in this room and across the country as wonderful projects delivered on behalf of the American people. Ever since I've come to GSA, a few things have resonated with me, and I've started a phrase for myself at least, and I don't know if anyone else is going to pick it up, which is pride of people, pride of place, and pride of GSA. I'm very proud of the work that our teams have achieved with you, our partners in industry. With that, I want to thank those who made this event possible. First and foremost, let me express my deepest thanks to the incredible steering committee who worked tirelessly to bring this event to fruition. Your dedication to ensuring the success of this event has not gone unnoticed. Your meticulous planning and attention to detail have made this afternoon a remarkable one. I would like to pause for a moment and ask each of the team to stand for a sec to be recognized. Anyone who's been on the steering committee. Thank you. We all know that there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and they work tirelessly, as I said, and no complaints, and all the little details, even to the last minute here today. I have a heartfelt thanks to you, the jurors, who lent your expertise and time to carefully evaluate the exceptional projects presented. Your commitment to fairness and excellence in judging has been pivotal in making these awards a true representation of the best of the industry. I would be remiss if I didn't also acknowledge and extend my gratitude to someone whose vision sparked these awards. Julia DeRossi, thank you for your foresight and commitment to recognizing and celebrating our industry partners and their achievements. You had the vision, and it's here. Last but not least, let us congratulate all of the participating teams. Your hard work, creativity, and determination has been nothing short of inspiring. Each project submitted has left an impressive mark on the construction industry, pushing boundaries and redefining what is possible in the federal construction arena. As we close out the ceremony, let us join together in applauding not only the winners, but every team that contributed to the success of GSA's construction achievements over the past several years. Your passion for construction and your relentless pursuit of excellence have elevated the standards of our profession. Let today's ceremony serve as a testament to the remarkable achievements of our partners in the construction industry and of our GSA teams. The GSA Construction Awards provide a platform for us to showcase the best of the best, a celebration of innovation, and a testament to the incredible talent within our community. congratulations to all the teams, and thank you to everyone who has contributed to the success of the GSA Construction Awards inaugural event. Here's to the future filled with even greater achievements and groundbreaking projects. Thank you. There, as far as I know from my team, there's the banner in the back in the lobby for those of you who want to take more photos. And if you need any of us to help you with that, just reach out to the steering committee who stood up. Thank you again for joining us today.